dog wouldn't stop pacing. Max's nail clicked against the tile in steady rhythm, back back and forth, like a metronome counting down to something unseen. His ears twitched at phantom sounds, his eyes darting to the walls as if they might burst open and reveal the thing he already sensed. Daniel leaned in the doorway, coffee mug halfway to his lips. "What's gotten into you, boy?" But Max didn't look at him, didn't acknowledge the voice that usually drew him instantly. His whole body was coiled, trembling with tension Daniel could almost feel through the air. A low whine escaped the dog's throat, vibrating like a warning no human language could carry. Then, without hesitation, Max lunged. He slammed into Daniel's legs, teeth catching his sleeve and tugging with urgent force, not playful, not begging, demanding. "Max, stop! What are you—" The words got short. On the counter, a glass trembled, just faintly, just enough to disturb the water inside. Rings rippled outward in perfect concentric circles. Daniel's pulse hitched. Max's bark erupted, raw, guttural, carrying something ancient in it. The kind of sound that made every hair on Daniel's body rise. The kind of sound that said run. The glass lid skittered and fell, shattering against the floor. The ceiling light swayed above, creaking on its chain. Daniel's skin turned cold. He knew, without knowing why, that something was coming. Something unstoppable. Max hurled himself against the back door, claws raking, Hal tearing through the kitchen like a siren. Daniel reached for the knob, and then, with a roar that seemed to rise from beneath the earth itself, the ground split open beneath them. Sometimes, the warning comes from the one you almost ignored. Has an animal ever protected you in a way you'll never forget? Share your story below, and subscribe for more incredible rescue stories. 30 minutes earlier, everything was ordinary. Daniel Harper sat hunched at his cluttered desk, laptop glowing faintly in the dim light of the living room. Freelance design barely paid the bills, but it let him work from home, let him stay close to Max. The radio hummed from the kitchen, some classic rock track Daniel half recognized. Beside the window, Max sprawled across his dog bed, one ear twitching when a car rolled past. Their usual routine, comfortable, safe. Daniel rubbed at his eyes and reached for his third cup of coffee. The deadline loomed 6 hours away, and inspiration had abandoned him around noon. "Just need to push through," he muttered. That was when Max stared. The Labrador stood slowly, ears tilting as if catching something distant. His body shifted into stillness so sharp it made the air feel tense. Daniel barely glanced up. "Need to go out, buddy?" Silence. He swiveled in his chair. Max stood in the center of the room, rigid, staring at the east wall as if it had whispered his name. His tail hung low, not wagging, not tucked, waiting. "Max?" Daniel pushed back from the desk. The dog's ear flattened. Then he moved, fast, pressing against Daniel's side, nosing under his arm. Urgent, insistent. All right, walk time." Daniel grabbed the leash, but Max didn't react with his usual tail-wagging glee. Instead, he paced to the door, back again, then whined. A sharp rising sound edged with something Daniel had never heard before: panic. When Daniel clipped the leash on, Max lunged, not towards the door but away from it. His teeth caught Daniel's sleeve, yanking hard enough to stagger him. "Jesus, okay." Daniel laughed weakly. recalling an article about animals sensing earthquakes. You my little seismograph now? The joke fell flat. His hand trembled on the doorknob. Then Max froze. His eyes locked on Daniel's, wide and dark with a fear that needed no translation. The radio cut off mid-song. Silence pressed down like a weight. Daniel's breath hitched. His gut told him what his mind refused to say. Something was coming. The floor jolted beneath him. Not a tremor, not a vibration. A violent jolt, as if it had seized the house and shaken it. The world exploded into chaos. The jolt became a roar, a sound Daniel didn't know the earth could make. A grinding, tearing scream of stone against stone as lock plates deep below tore free all at once. His legs vanished from under him. He hit the floor hard as the house bucked like a wild animal, throwing objects in every direction. A lamp shattered beside his head. Picture frames launched from the walls. Books crashed in an avalanche from the shelves. Max! The dog sprawled flat, belly pressed to the ground, claws scrabbling for purchase. His bark was drowned by the earthquake's deafening howl. Daniel tried to crawl, but the floor rolled beneath him like waves. His brain refused to believe solid ground could behave like water. Then came the groan. The support beam running the length of the living room bowed, nails popping loose like gunshots. Plaster rained down. The ceiling light swung wildly before shattering. No, no. He lunged towards the doorway. Wasn't that what you're supposed to do? A doorway was safe, wasn't it? He made it 3 feet. The beam gave way with a cannon blast crack. It caught him across the lower back, slamming him flat. Air tore from his lungs in a single violent gasp. His chest convulsed, his legs crumpling under the impossible weight. White-hot pain seared through him, blotting out thoughts. It wasn't pain in the normal sense. It was total, absolute, obliterating. His body screamed with every nerve at once. He tried to inhale. Nothing came. He was pinned, helpless. Then, just as quickly as it started, the shaking stopped. The house sagged into silence, broken only by distant sirens and the steady groan of wounded timber. Dust choked the air, so thick that Daniel couldn't see beyond arm reach. A high ringing filled his ears. He forced his palms against the floor, tried to push. The effort ripped fire through his legs and he screamed. The sound came out as hoarse rasp. Max! The dog emerged through the haze like a ghost, limping but alive, blood streaking his shoulder. His eyes rolled wide, frantic. Relief almost undid Daniel. Good boy, you're okay. Max whined, sniffed his face, then circled to the beam. He pressed his nose against the timber, pawed at the flooring, testing. His body vibrated with urgency, but the wood wouldn't budge. Daniel tried again to cry for help, but his voice barely carried past his lips. His chest was too tight, too compressed. The dust began to settle, revealing devastation. The room looked bombed out, walls cracked, furniture splintered. The front wall torn open with daylight spilling through. Beyond it, smoke curled and car alarms wailed. Someone screamed outside. Max barked, sharp, insisted. He darted to the gap, then back to Daniel, then to the gap again. I can't, Daniel whispered. His voice broke. I can't move. The ground trembled again. An aftershock, smaller but enough. The floor above gave way with a crash, rubble raining down. The beam pressed deeper across Daniel's back and legs, forcing another cry from his throat. Black spots danced in his vision. He bit his lip until he tasted blood, clinging to consciousness. Max went frantic. He clawed at the wood, barked at the ceiling, then grabbed a strip of curtain in his teeth and pulled with all his weight, growling, straining. The fabric tore, useless. Finally, he pressed his face to Daniel's one more time, nose wet, eyes shining with fear. "Find help," Daniel rasped. "Go, boy, go." The command cost him everything. Max whined, unwilling, but he turned. He squeezed through the gap in the wall and was gone. Silence reclaimed the room, broken only by the distant chaos outside. Daniel sagged against the floor, the beam crushing the fight from him inch by inch. His breath came shallow. Each inhale tasted of dust and smoke. He closed his eyes, and memory found him. The shelter, 6 years earlier. A scared skinny dog with matted fur and ribs showing crouched in the corner of a kennel. Daniel had crouched too, peering through the bars. "Yeah?" he'd said softly. "I know how you feel." They'd saved each other that day. Now, Max was out there again, maybe saving him one last time. "Good boy," Daniel whispered to the empty room. His lips barely moved. "Such a good—" His voice faded. The dust settled thicker, and somewhere beyond the ruin, sirens wailed closer. Max ran. His paws hammered broken asphalt, weaving through overturned cars and heaps of rubble that used to be fences, porches, and entire walls. The air still tasted of dust and smoke, every breath sharp and bitter. He didn't stop. His shoulder burned where something sharp had sliced him, but the pain didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the man pinned under the beam. The man who had once saved him when he was starving, forgotten, waiting for the needle in the shelter cage. Sirens cut through the chaos. Max rounded a corner and froze. Fire trucks, 3 of them, parked before what had been a 2-story colonial, now collapsed into a jagged mound of splintered wood. Firefighters swarmed the wreckage, shouting orders, hauling gear, and digging with steady urgency. Max barked. No one looked. He sprinted towards the nearest firefighter, a woman dragging equipment from the truck. She flinched as he barreled into her legs. "Hey, somebody grab this dog." Max grabbed her sleeve, tugged hard. "Bad dog," she yanked free, turned back to her gear. Max barked louder, darted 3 steps away, stopped, and looked back, bleeding. Ignored. His heart pounded harder. He shoved himself against her again, barking nonstop now, almost howling. He leaped up, paw scraping her pants, begging her to see. "Get this tray under control," he shouted. A captain, weathered face, gray at the temples, strode over. "Keep him back, we don't have time for—" "Wait." A younger firefighter stepped in. His name tag read Morrison. Barely older than a rookie, sweat-streaking suit across his face. "Captain, look at him. He's not just panicking, he's trying to show us something." "It's a dog, Morrison. A dog that's bleeding should be in shock, but instead he's here doing that." Morrison pointed as Max ran a few steps, looked back, barked, and returned. "My grandpa had a search dog. This is how they lead." The captain hesitated, jaw tight. Max pressed his chins. He grabbed Morrison's pant leg, pulled with desperate strength until the firefighter stumbled a step forward. "See? He wants us to follow. The captain's eyes flicked towards the collapsed house. We have confirmed the victims here. I can't abandon a sure rescue for a maybe. Then let me go. Morrison's voice got firm. Just me. 5 minutes. If he's wrong, I come straight back. The captain's jaw worked. The ground trembled with another aftershock. Faint, but enough to remind them all that time was running out. 5 minutes, the captain said. Then you're back, understood? Yes, sir. Morrison crouched, meeting Max's eyes. Alright, buddy, show me. Max didn't wait. He bolted down the street, checking back every few strides. Morrison sprinted after him, boots crunching broken glass, radio clattering at his side. They tore through a neighborhood, shredded into pieces. Houses leaned at impossible angles. Cars sat crushed under fallen trees. A child's bicycle dangled from a down paper line like a cruel joke. Max didn't waver. He ducked through gaps, leaped over rubble, and slowed only long enough to make sure Morrison kept pace. 3 minutes in, Morrison's radio crackled. Morrison, status. He ignored it, lungs burning. Max skidded to a halt before a house that looked stumped flat. The entire right wing had collapsed, the front wall torn open, spilling bricks and splintered beams. Max barked once, sharp. Then he squeezed through the jagged crack in the wall. Wait! Morrison raised the radio. Captain, I've got a structure, 412 Maple. The dog went inside. That building's not stable. Get back here, Morrison, that's an order. There could be someone. Get back here. Inside, Max barked again, muffled, desperate. Morrison stared at the crack, heartbeat in his throat. Sorry, Captain, he muttered, and then he followed the dog inside. The dust inside clawed at Morrison's throat the moment he dug through the crack in the wall. His flashlight beam carved a thin tunnel of light through the haze, catching on broken furniture, splintered studs, and dangling wires. It felt less like a house and more like the inside of a dying animal. Every groan and creak a reminder that the structure was still shifting, still deciding whether to swallow him whole. Fire department, his voice rasped, swallowed by the dust. Anyone here? No answer. But Max's bark cut sharply and urgently, pulling Morrison deeper. He scrambled over what used to be a coffee table, now crushed flat, his boots sinking into piles of plaster. A section of ceiling was tangled like a trapdoor above him, swaying with each breath of the fractured building. When his foot punched through the floorboards, Morrison caught himself on a beam, heart hammering. Jesus! Max appeared through the fog. His golden coat turned gray with ash. Blood streaked his shoulder. His paws left small red prints across the debris, but it didn't falter. The dog barked once, sharply, then darted towards the far side of the living room. That's when Morrison saw it. A support beam had collapsed across something. Someone. He dropped to his knees, flashlight trembling as he swept it over the wreckage. A hand jutted out from beneath the timber, pale and dust-caked, fingers twitching. Oh God! Morrison grabbed it, felt a pulse, faint but there. Hang on, just hang on. The radio at his shoulder crackled. Morrison reported. He pressed the mic with shaking hands. Captain, I've got a victim, male, trapped under collapse, unconscious but alive. 412 Maple Street. We need the team here now. Copy, 2 minutes. Get out of there, Morrison. That house is a coffin. Not without him. He tossed the radio aside and studied the beam. It had to weigh 300 pounds. maybe more, pinning the man across the hips and legs. God knew what damage had been done beneath it. Max whined, pacing in tight circles. His paws left smears of blood across the dust. I know, buddy, Morrison muttered. We're gonna try. He wedged his hands under the timber and hauled upward. His muscles screamed. The beam shifted an inch, maybe two, enough to make the trapped man groan in pain. His first sound. Hey, hey, you with me? Morrison bent closer. The man's eyes cracked open, pupils unfocused. Max! The word was barely heard. Morrison looked at the dog pressed against the man's shoulder, licking at his face. He's here. He brought me to you. The ghost of a smile flickered. Then, the man's eyes slid shut again. Stay awake. Come on, stay with me. Morrison pulled again, but the beam slipped from his grip and slammed back down. The thud made him flinch. The man let out a muffled cry before going still again. Damn it. Morrison punched the floor, then grabbed the mic again. Captain, victim confirmed alive, hurry. The answer was footsteps, shouting, the crash of tools against debris. Then the team burst inside. 4 firefighters in full gear, the captain right behind them. Move, the captain barked. Hydraulic jacks and airbags were already being deployed. 2 firefighters dropped to the man's side, checking vitals, while another assessed the ceiling, eyes darting to every sagging line. This place is about to come down, the captain warned. We've got 1 shot. Then let's not waste it, Morrison said. They worked in sharp practice silence. The jack was wedged beneath the beam, its steel foot braced against the fractured floor. 1 firefighter opened the valve. The piston extended, groaning as it pressed upward. The beam shifted slowly. Dust rained from the ceiling. The entire house seemed to inhale with them. That's 6 inches, someone said. Go, go, go. 2 firefighters reached under the timber and dragged the man out, careful but fast. He moaned once, blood staining his lips. Then, the earth moved again. The aftershock was bigger than the last. A rolling wave that shook the entire structure. Walls cracked. Something upstairs gave way with a sound like gunshot. Out! Now! The captain bellowed. Morrison didn't think. He threw the man over his shoulders in the fireman's carry, ignoring the scream it drew. The captain scooped Max up under one arm, the dog yelping but not struggling. The rest of the crew grabbed their gear and bolted. The house collapsed behind them. It was like watching a giant exhale, walls folding, roof caving, everything flattening into a mound of splintered wood and pulverized stone. The roar chased them out into the open street, followed by a choking wave of dust. They didn't stop until they were clear. Morrison set the man down on the pavement, lungs burning, arms trembling. Paramedics sprinted over with a stretcher. The man's eyelids fluttered. Through the haze of pain and blood, his gaze found Max. The dog wriggled free of the captain's hold and limped to his side, whining. He pressed his nose against the man's cheek, tail wagging weakly. The man's trembling hand lifted and brushed Max's fur. His lips cracked into the faintest of smiles. Good boy, he whispered. Such a good... His eyes closed again. The paramedics loaded him into the stretcher. Oxygen mask, IV line, pushing hard towards the waiting ambulance. Max tried to follow, barking sharply once. A paramedic knelt and blocked him. Sorry, buddy, no dogs in the rig. Max sat where he was, panting. staring at the ambulance like his soul was tied to it. Morrison dropped to a knee beside him, running a hand over the dog's dust-caked fur. He felt every scrape, every patch of dried blood. Max had run in broken paws, led him through a death trap, and never once slowed. "You saved his life," Morrison murmured. "We never would have found him without you." Max didn't react, didn't wag, didn't look away. He just kept watching the ambulance until its sirens faded into the distance. Dawn came slowly. The hospital room was quiet, filled only with the steady beep of monitors and the soft hiss of oxygen. Daniel drifted in and out of consciousness, held under by painkillers and exhaustion. When he surfaced fully, the first thing he saw was white ceiling tiles. The second was Max. The dog lay curled at the foot of the bed, head on his paws, bandages wrapped around all 4 feet. His eyes were closed, but an ear twitched at the faintest sound of Daniel stirring. "Max?" The ear flicked again. Then the head lifted. Their eyes met. Relief, love, gratitude. It all crashed into Daniel at once, sharper than the pain in his shattered legs. "Hey, buddy," he whispered, voice cracking. "You made it." Max's tail thumped weakly, but it was enough. A knock at the door drew their attention. Morrison stepped in, still wearing his firefighter t-shirt and cargo pants, looking as if he hadn't slept in 2 days. "Sorry," he said. "Told the nurses I'd only be a minute. Wanted to check on you both." Daniel tried to speak, but the words faltered. "Max did the hard work," Morrison said. "The captain said there was no way anyone survived that collapse, but you did. That dog led me through half a mile of rubble to find you. Without him, we wouldn't have made it." Daniel's hand found Max's head. The dog leaned in, trusting. "I pulled him from a shelter 6 years ago," Daniel said quietly. "Starving, scared, someone had abandoned him. I thought I was saving him." Morrison smiled. Guess he disagreed. After Morrison left, Daniel watched Max doze, breathing shallow but steady. The vet had said he'd pushed himself to the absolute limit, bleeding paws, fatigue, pain, and still hadn't stopped. "Hey, Max," Daniel said softly. The dog opened his eyes. "I guess I owe you my life now." Max thumped his tail once, then twice. The weeks that followed were grueling. Daniel's left leg was pinned with titanium screws. His right leg was barely better. Recovery would be long, slow, and uncertain. Max recovered faster, walking without a limp within 2 weeks. Though pale scars marked his paws where he'd clawed through debris to save Daniel. They went home on a Thursday morning. The house was gone, condemned and cleared. A small rental across town was their new beginning. Neighbors emerged, not to welcome Daniel, but to meet Max. Word had spread. Hero dog saves owner from earthquake collapse. The shelter sent flowers. The local news had run a story. Someone even started a GoFundMe to help with vet bills. An elderly woman approached, hand trembling. "Can I pet him?" Daniel nodded. She knelt and ran her hands over Max's head. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for bringing him home." Max sat quietly through the attention, accepting it as naturally as he had accepted everything. Like saving his person wasn't heroic, just necessary. That night, Daniel sat on the floor of the tiny living room. Max curled up in his lap. "You know what gets me?" Daniel murmured. "People call you a hero. You did save me, but it's more than that. You knew. You tried to warn me. And when I ignored it, You came back. You always come back. He pressed his forehead against Max's. I thought I saved you at the shelter. Thought I was the hero, but I was wrong. You've been saving me every day. From loneliness, from giving up, from forgetting love. And when the earth shook, you saved me again. Max thumped his tail, a quiet punctuation. Outside, life carried on. A dog barked in the distance. The sun rose fully now, light spilling into the streets. Daniel closed his eyes. He understood something profound. Survival isn't just luck, timing, or strength. It is love. Love that refuses to leave you behind. Love that digs through rubble with bleeding paws. Love that says, I will find you. I will bring help. I will not let you die alone. When the earth shook, Daniel realized it wasn't instinct that saved him. It was love. And love, he learned, will move heaven and earth or die trying. Everyday heroes are all around us.